Today I need to make the video that I didn't expect I needed to make, but the one that happened upon me, as it were, based off this morning. I want to talk to you guys about what took place for me this morning, what happened. So I was planning on making a photography video. I don't usually incorporate that into the channel, but I decided that, you know what, I'm going to actually make a photography video in one day where I would wake up, I'd shoot the video, I'd edit it, and I would upload it same day. And that's still what I'm doing right now, honestly, but differently. It's not the same video that I was going to shoot. So I wake up, I go to Sacramento, I'm going to take some day photos because I felt inspired after waking up this morning, even though I felt like garbage. It was great. I started out, I got couple nice photos that I'm pretty happy with, but while I was out there, out and about, something completely unexpected happened. While I was at an intersection and touring around looking for my next shot that I would take, I saw someone, and he approached me, and I could tell from looking at him that he was homeless. And when he greeted me, he didn't ask me for what you would think he would ask for. He didn't ask me for money. He asked to simply, can you buy me a cup of coffee? And I was like, that's it? Just want a cup of coffee? Like, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, sure, yeah, that's fine. So I even asked if he wanted Starbucks, and his reaction to that was, no, too expensive, and, which is kind of funny. And I was like, okay. And so we decided he wants 7-Eleven, which is a lot cheaper, and so we have to walk farther, but as we get to walking, we get to talking, I find out more about him. I find out who he is. I learn a bunch of stuff about him. I don't know how much of it's true, honestly, because of his mental state, but basically what I could piece together, or what he told me, is his name's Billy. Billy Wolf. He grew up in Oregon. He got in a bike accident when he was younger, paralyzed half his body when he woke up from his coma, and he was able to regain his function of his right half of his body, even after the doctor said, you won't walk, you won't be able to work, all that, except for his right eye. He can't see out of his right eye, so he has a bad peripheral vision, and he's only got the left one. So we get to talking like, oh, that's crazy. And so at some point he moved out of Oregon, he came down to Sacramento, he got hooked up with the wrong crowd, biker and his girl and whatever, and they took him in and did weed, drugs, and all that stuff, all that crazy stuff that you just don't want to get into. Hi, Linus. Look at that. Linus is greeting me. Good cat. But anyway, so he gets mixed up in the wrong crowd, and obviously this is not good for him, and I would assume is the reason for why, or at least partly because the reason why he has a bad memory. We were talking, and he would, over the course of the 30 minutes to an hour that we were together, he told me the same thing about 10 times. He would talk about how he was in his coma and he saw the future and all that, and all the crazy stuff that you could think of that someone who's not mentally right upstairs would say. So I tell him about who I am and that I'm just walking along the street and just taking photos, what I want to do with my life, all that cool stuff, and he's asking me questions and all that. And we get to the 7-Eleven, I buy him a cup of coffee. This man pours a bucket load of sugar into that coffee. If you've ever heard the joke, do you want some coffee in your sugar? This man is the embodiment of that joke. He poured about a good, just, and I was in awe. I was like, I'm not a coffee person, but I looked at that, I was like, wow, I sure would like coffee if there was that much sugar in it. I'm sure anyone would. But this is where I get into more of why I made this video, because I didn't expect this to happen, guys. I didn't expect to wake up this morning feeling like garbage from 4 hours of sleep. I didn't expect to go out and do a photography shoot today, or shoot a video, or any of that. And I didn't expect to meet Billy, but this is the part of the video that, while I left my house inspired to do something cool, to make a cool video and shoot some great photos, I left feeling more inspired, and not about photography, but about Billy. Throughout the constant ramblings, through the constant just repeating the same stories and the things that honestly I doubt their validity, and all the things that he was telling me about, he would, as we passed people on the street, and what I noticed is that he would say, "Good morning. How are you?" to every single person that we'd pass on the street. Every single one. Not one person did he not greet while we were walking along Sacramento, down whatever street name that it is. I don't know the streets. He would greet every single person with, "How are you? Good morning." And not "have a nice day." No, he didn't say "have a nice day." I even said it a couple times when I was greeting people, and he said, "No. Not have a nice day. Have a great life." And that was something that kind of stuck with me, like, wow, that's kind of cool. And it goes further than that. You see, he would greet people, but at the same time, that greeting really mostly all the time was not reciprocated. People would pass by. Maybe they were in their headphones, maybe they were doing their own thing, they had somewhere to be, but you just say a simple, "Good morning, how are you? Have a nice life." And they would walk on. No attention paid. And really the only few times that people did greet back would be when I was doing it, when I was saying good morning to people, when I was saying, "How are you?" And I don't know, it's crazy to me. Something that we tend to not do very often, something that where we see someone on the street, we would just pass them by. Maybe we're in our own stuff, maybe we got somewhere to be. But the other person doesn't really mean as much, and greeting them is just an afterthought, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I don't know them." And we just continue on with our day. Someone who's homeless, someone who's been dealt a bad hand in life, someone who's been in crappy situations, who's not mentally okay upstairs, it still has the actual kindness of his heart to greet people and say, "How are you? Have a nice day." No, not "have a nice day. Have a great life." And at the same time, that greeting is being denied. It's being shot down. It's not being reciprocated. And I don't want to make this video to guilt trip you guys. It's just honestly almost not necessarily challenge you guys, but something that to think about is that someone who is completely ignored by society, aside from whether he's spitting profanity, whether he's yelling, or even just talking crazy or repeating the same story over and over, that through all that he still has the kindness of his heart to greet every single person and connect with them on a person-to-person basis. I got to talking to him to some degree about what my beliefs are and how I believe and how I'm a Christian and all that, and he was talking to me about the same stuff. And while I question how much he believes it, in the sense of that he was just not okay upstairs and that how he acted would not reflect that necessarily, at the same time how he acted I think represents it better than any of us ever do. While we were together, he liked to pick up shiny things and rocks and all that. He doesn't have a job, but he said his job was, if he doesn't have a job, he might as well go around picking up rocks. This is the type of guy I'm talking to. He liked shiny things and all that, and he picked up a coin, and early on, right when we met each other, I guess, and at the end of when I was talking to him, he said, "Here, keep this. Remember me." I'm like, just be thinking about Billy. And my response to that is, yes, absolutely. And someone who makes videos and stuff, is that I don't think I could let this pass by as an opportunity where I was challenged, where I was inspired to inspire you guys. And the other thing, as I was leaving, is while we were also walking around picking up all these items and such, he picked up I guess a bouquet of plastic flowers. The cheap ones, maybe there was about 3 or 4 red flowers that were just together, obviously fake, with the price tag still on them, just lying on the ground on the street. He thought they were pretty. And so eventually what ends up happening is we have to part our separate ways, and this is what really inspired me. The final act that I saw Billy do before we parted our ways is that as I was walking out the parking garage and we'd already said our goodbyes, I saw him walking in the opposite direction as I quickly glanced as I was walking up the steps towards my car. And I saw him take out those plastic flowers, and he handed them to a random lady walking along the street. Someone who's probably just going about their day, has work to do, places to be. Someone who doesn't know who he is and might not even care. But I can only imagine the words that he said when he handed her those flowers. Good morning. How are you? Have a great life.